no mystery that Australia has amazing and unique wildlife, but the side of the story that most don't see are the incredible people dedicated to making sure they stick around for generations to come. I'd like you to meet one of those people, Trish Wimberly, avid animal lover and one of the most caring people I've met. The wildlife rescues that I do on the Gold Coast can be pretty exciting. But a little birdie told me if I wanted to film something really spectacular, I should call Trish Wimberly. And boy, were they right. The first 2 minutes of speaking to her, she tells me she has a drugged up kangaroo in the back of her van. She just pulled it out of a canal that morning. To which I replied, we're on our way. Having rescued only birds in my short career, I jumped at a chance to lend a hand. The passion this woman had for animals was clear. This kangaroo, who was only hours ago struggling to survive, now had a second chance. A bit wobbly at first, but eventually he found his feet and his mob. As Trish was giving us directions back to her place, I couldn't help but notice her number plate. When we arrived at Trish's, we had no idea what we were in for. A gorgeous property in the hinterland, and at the heart of it all, an aviary full of huge bats. 3 different species of flying fox. But we would soon find out this was much more than a home for bats. As we entered her house, it was apparent immediately. Bats weren't the only ones hanging around. Orphan kangaroos and joeys in handmade pouches in every corner. Tiny feather-tailed glider babies that had to be fed every couple of hours, drop by drop. And a featherless cockatoo named Remy, who had complete free range of the house and was literally climbing up the walls. She had completely transformed her home into a sanctuary for sick, orphaned, and injured wildlife. This wild place was a never-ending maze of surprises. Bedrooms had been converted into a trauma care facility for the flying foxes and the microbats. With all these bats hanging around, it started to feel a bit like we were at Dracula's house.
Oh my! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh! Ah!
Children of the night. What a mess they make.
The haunting stigma of the evil, scary bat has been around for centuries. So let me ask you this.
Are you afraid of the big black bat?
So if they are that scary and evil, why does Trish want to save them?
I love them, yeah.
Once you've worked with a bat, you're lost the minute you see your eyes.
I'm too afraid to love you.
Bats. Also known as flying foxes, fruit bats, and megabats. They roost in large groups called camps, sometimes in the tens of thousands. They're the only flying mammal, weighing up to 1 kilo with a meter wingspan. Flying foxes are very different to the stereotypical microbat that live in caves, are found in your attic, and use echolocation to hunt. They don't drink blood, they don't swoop you on purpose, and the last place in the world they want to end up is in your hair.
They're in my hair! They're in my hair! Oh, God! Help me!
I see. There is nothing in your hair. Exactly.
In many ways, flying foxes are more biologically similar to monkeys and humans than they are to the little microbats. Fruit bats get their name from their diet, chewing up fruit from native and non-native trees to extract only the juice and spitting out the rest. They also eat pollen and nectar, leading to the pollination of native vegetation over great distances. They can fly up to 30 kilometers in one night in search for food. This map shows the major camps around the Gold Coast, but urbanization and habitat destruction is forcing them into people's backyards. The more vegetation we clear, the more dependent we get on these long-range pollinators, as scattered pockets of forest get further and further apart.
In the last 30 years on the Gold Coast, pretty much 95% of their habitat is gone. The only saviour of most of our native habitat, and the only animal capable of doing it and sustaining it, is going to be the one animal that everybody hates. There's a little red flying fox.
Despite the benefits flying foxes bring to the environment, having them camp out in your backyard sparks fear among landowners. The Hendra virus.
Bats, flying foxes, are carriers of the deadly bug, of course, and folks in the lucrative racing industry in particular don't want to take any risks.
Bats can transmit this virus directly to horses, which can then be passed to humans. But no one has ever contracted Hendra from a bat. Instead of focusing on habitat destruction, which is the root cause of bats moving into urbanized areas, a cruel, ignorant, and unnecessary approach to protect against the virus has been suggested: to cull the population.
We need to have something in progress that where we cull them.
Federal MP Bob Katter says the time for talk is over and has called for the Premier to have the bats culled.
If she does not remove them, and she does not allow us to remove them, then we'll be carrying out legal action.
Bats have been here for millions of years, probably carried that virus for millions of years. And we're the intruders, not them. Yeah, we're the ones that brought the horses into this country.
This is obviously a controversial topic, but in no way does it condone animal cruelty. But that doesn't stop people from taking matters into their own hands.
The cruelty aspect, I can't understand from Australians. We had a little grey-headed flying fox. She's only a little girl from last year. She's not even a year old yet. She was shot in the arm with a 5-inch nail. The one that was hit over the head with a golf club a month ago. The one that was on barbed wire and was beaten to death with sticks. A little baby that was knocked out of a tree by some school children at the behest of a deputy headmaster and then hit over the head with a stick. A lot of that is the bad media and the headline value out there, and people that have just got a natural hatred of bats have used it as an excuse for this cruelty.
They think that if they kill the bat, then they're protecting humans and protecting horses, which is just ridiculous. The more time I spent with these incredible animals, the more I realized how far from their stereotype they really were. They're inquisitive, gentle, and so darn cute. It's just beyond me that anyone could feel justified in hurting them. Trish has over 300 bats here at the Australian Bat Clinic. Habitat destruction, severe weather conditions, and random acts of cruelty has made this year one of the biggest yet. So I'm sure you're starting to wonder how one woman can manage such a huge workload.
Oh look, we wouldn't be able to do anything without our volunteers. No, they're an amazing group of people.
The bats are well looked after, with daily juice feedings and the freshest fruit around. They get a variety of fruits including rock melons, pears, apples, and other seasonal fruit. Protein is added to ensure the bats are getting a well-rounded diet. This beautiful fruit salad isn't cheap either. Trish pays over $1,000 a week just for fruit.
Holy fruit salad!
Trish's sidekick Robin takes this gourmet meal down to the bats.
Come on, Robin. To the Batcave. We haven't one moment to lose.
Trish has no government funding to rely on and very few donations. Trish and her husband Terry run this whole clinic out of pocket. You would think looking after 300 bats would be a big enough project for any one woman. But as you saw in the beginning, Trish also does on-site rescues. She's one of the top trauma rescuers on the coast. She let us tag along for another kangaroo rescue. But unlike the first one, this one didn't have a happy ending. A farmer reported a large male eastern grey kangaroo stuck in a barbed wire fence on his property. The Roo managed to free himself, but not without serious injury to his leg. When we arrived, he was finding refuge down by the dam. Walking over, Trish already knew this kangaroo didn't have a good chance. She prepared an anesthetic to knock the Roo out, then planned her approach.
That way, yeah, but I'm going to have to go with the net.
Yeah.
So, with the net, it's going to be interesting, this.
Even though injured, an animal this size has incredible strength and can do some serious damage. Trish has to be extremely cautious.
Okay, give me that. Stand on that, stand on that, stand on that.
She quickly sedates him. Without even seeing the extent of his injuries, Trish knows from experience that any wound needs daily treatment, and the stress alone would kill him. The only thing she can do is humanely euthanize. Trish explains to the farmer why this is the best thing for the Roo.
When they're stressed out, they have a real build-up of lactic acid.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like an athlete that's run a really hard race, and what it is, his muscles just melt. This is what they end up dying of, and it's a really painful, slow way of dying. This here is the lethal injection.
Right.
So this is what they call the green drink. You can see the green drink. Again, it's an anaesthetic, but it's an anaesthetic that you're just giving them an overdose of. What we've always been taught is to sedate first so they don't feel it, because this is painful.
Robin checks him to make sure he's fully sedated before attempting to pull him out of the water. Weighing over 50 kilos, this is no easy task.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It's down to the bone, that.
She locates his heart. And he takes his last breath. Unfortunately, this occurrence happens far too often. But luckily, there's a way you can help.
If you see an injured bat or any other wildlife, please call the Wild Care Hotline. Flying foxes are not scary monsters. They're intelligent social animals, and they play a huge role in sustaining Australian wildlife. And remember, be kind to your furry flying fox friends.